Saquon Barkley actually finished third in Comeback Player of the Year in 2022. Now everyone's trying to figure out where he's going to go in 2024. Here's our Jordan Renan on Saquon's future in New York.
I'm starting to get the feeling now that they don't use the tag. The Giants want to keep him, but they don't want to pay him. The magic number is going to be $24, $25 million guaranteed. They weren't willing to get there last year. Saquon wasn't willing to budge. Saquon, you're going to be 27 years old. That's a number where they'd say, hey, running backs, this is where they kind of fall off the cliff. 27 years old, right around there. To me, it seems like it's headed towards him hitting free agency.
Headed towards free agency. What do you think of that, Harry?
Yeah, I love it. For Saquon Barkley, I understand you want to be close to home, but for a guy in which we all believe he deserves the contract that he deserves for what he meant to the New York Giants and his football team, sometimes it's okay to just walk away, right? I think he should end up in Houston with the Texans, with C.J. Stroud. We see Christian McCaffrey and what he means to the San Francisco 49ers. It's the same offense. You just think about how dynamic C.J. Stroud and company could be if they had a guy like Saquon Barkley that makes that offense even more dynamic than it was in his first year as a quarterback, and also DeMeco Ryans' first year as a head coach and Bobby Slowick's first year as an offensive coordinator.
You know, it's fascinating because we sit here and we say, which team could use Saquon Barkley? The answer is every team could use Saquon Barkley, and yet no one will pay him the amount of money. The running back position has just found itself in this place.
Tagging him again is still a possibility.
Yeah.
So, like, the reality is, like, it's not so clear, hey, he's going to enter into free agency. Tagging him again, I mean, is probably what is going to eventually happen. I just think this. The number of teams that have regretted resetting the running back market with their running back is much greater than the number of teams that are like, yeah, we're glad that we paid this guy all of that money. And so because of that, doesn't mean they're not valued or they wouldn't help nearly every team in the National Football League. It's, do you want that contract 3 years from now? You most likely don't.
Does it matter in the locker room? Like, we've heard some Giant players, Kayvon Thibodeau and others, suggesting, hey, what they're doing with Saquon here isn't right. Does that actually make a difference to the Giants? Will it have any impact?
I think guys in the locker room talk about it. Guys in the locker room, who the guys you really respect as players. And I'm sure in that New York, Giants locker room, they have a profound respect for Saquon Barkley and everything he means to that organization. Think about, you go out there and pay Daniel Jones all that money, and then Saquon Barkley is like fighting to get paid. Come on.
One last thing, the state of Texas, no state income tax. I know, Saquon, you're tired of paying for it up here. keep a lot more of your money, boss.
What about them Cowboys?
Yeah, he's not alone. Cowboys, listen, I mean, there's not a team in the league that wouldn't be made much better by having Saquon Barkley. Tonight, Hannah Hadal, Get Up on ESPN. Our DraftKings Sportsbook predictions are brought to you by DraftKings. Let's go more or less. Tim, Patrick Mahomes, more or less, 259.5 passing yards on Sunday.
I'm going to say more on Mahomes here on this one. Look, I just think that, look, he's so good, and they're not afraid to throw the football if they're ahead and to run out the clock, like that play right there. And so I think because of that, I think he ultimately gets to that number because I think they put it on him.
And the answer with Mahomes is always more. Very hard to say less. D. Wood, Travis Kelce, more or less 6.5 catches.
Well, if the answer with Mahomes is always more, I'm going more here. I'm going more with Travis. Listen, we've seen what this guy's been able to do in the postseason. And look going back to last week in the AFC Championship game against that duo of linebackers in Baltimore, we saw the plays that Travis Kelce was able to make. He's going to have another hard task against this San Francisco 49ers, but it's Travis Kelce, damn it. I'm going more.
And then, Harry, let's go to the other side. Brock Purdy, more or less 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Well, it's Brock Purdy, damn it. He's going to have more. Yeah, y'all want to say that about the other guys? Nah, but seriously, I think Kyle Shanahan, you had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. George Kittle has to be huge in this matchup. We know Brandon Ayuk and what he brings to the table. Christian McCaffrey coming out of the backfield. And last but not least, Deebo Samuel. I'm going with more.
All right, so there's been so much conversation about Brock Purdy. I've made the observation he may be the least polarizing person in the world, and yet he's become an extremely polarizing topic, particularly leading up to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton has been in the middle of most of that. He went on with Dan Patrick yesterday, and it's at the beginning you'll hear him saying, I want to sort of put all this to rest. And then he pretty much says it all again. Give a listen.
I think we have to stop this narrative that I do not like Brock Purdy. That's not the case. I'm a fan of Brock Purdy. But I just call it how I see it. And I think what he's been able to do with getting guys the football has been something that we've seen A lot of people do, but not at this level. Game changer is at the top sphere of talent. Are you saying Brock Purdy is in that realm?